Okay, so back in the day, technology was not something that doctors and nurses had relied on when it came to caring and treating their patients. This topic has made me realize the advantages and disadvantages because it relates to my career and will help me in the future. Earlier during the week, I asked a few of my classmates a few questions. The first question was do doctors and nurses rely on technology too much? Most of them had answered with a no, which is pretty good, and I agree also. And I agree because it helps in many ways we never thought it would. The second question I asked was if technology was a trusted source when it comes to charting a patient's medical history. Most of my classmates had answered with a yes and maybe two no's, but I also agree with the yes. So today I will persuade the audience to check that their medical provider has adequate safeguard that their personal information in their database and to insist that it be in the place before they give them any personal information. The problem under discussion today is about whether technology can be trusted and if it's a trusted factor when it comes to the medical field. For example, technology is constantly changing. In order to keep up with technology, healthcare workers will have to take time to learn everything so that one does not mess up a patient's medical history. It will take a lot of time to adapt to new changes when it comes to learning technology on computers, iPads, and even specific technology machines that are being used every day. Therefore, my action step is to provide a similar way to learning technology beforehand when it comes to working in the medical field, like maybe a 2-week training learning process to help those that are not very good with technology. So that leads me to the dependency of technology. While healthcare workers adapt to their new ways of working, another problem can occur. The computer system can have technical errors. When that happens, the other computer system may take time to start up and may also have a technical error, so that can lead to a long waiting period. So most medical centers should always have a backup plan when technology is not a reliable source. If the computers and technology shuts down, then they would have to go back to their old ways, like charting everything by hand. It's not a bad thing, but it would just take a lot of time. So most healthcare workers rely on technology so much that another problem would have to be with time management. And not just their time management, but also their patients' time management. So there are a few steps to consider. A patient's medical history and other medical information should always be kept confidential because of legal and ethical reasons. Only the patient and medical provider involved in his or her care can view a medical chart. The medical chart that belongs to the patient, she or he has the right to make sure the charts are accurate or grant another access to them. Patients can petition their providers for amendments to inaccurate medical charts. The medical provider can accidentally mishear the patient and write something else down, like maybe a prescription that the patient is not taking. And that can lead to the patient being upset and having to wait a few hours or days for the patient to pick up their new medication that is the correct one. And also, it would be the healthcare provider's fault for mishearing the patient. So, with that being said, without a doubt, technology has affected people's lives and sometimes can either be a blessing or a curse. So, in order to help protect our medical history, you have to trust your healthcare providers. If you don't, well, you need to find a new healthcare provider and a new facility that you have your trust in. So don't delay on this matter. Don't be afraid to ask your healthcare providers questions and anything else you need to ask them. Protect your identity and medical records today by asking your healthcare providers how and where your medical records are kept and who can see them. Okay, so I used four bibliographies to look up my information, which was from WordPress.com, the advantages and disadvantages of charting patients' medical history. And then the second one I used was Health and Technology from the webmd.com. And the last two sources I used were from the library, the ASU library source, which was Understanding Nurse Precipitations of a Newly Implemented Electronic Medical Record System. And then the last one I used was Envisioning the Future, Transformation of Healthcare Systems.